Alright guys, Morocco and Croatia have just played out a 0-0 draw in a game which was lacking in quality, I think is a fair way to put it. I think there was one player on the pitch who was clearly a level above the rest, and that was Luka Modric. I mean, at the age of 37, to still have that much control in a football match is phenomenal, really. And he has to go down as one of the best midfielders of this generation. I think that's common knowledge already, but maybe one of the best midfielders of this century so far, because that is how good he is. Virtually no chances in the first half, I think, until Vlasic had a half chance, which Bono in goal for Morocco did quite well to save. And until that, right at the end of the first half, that there was virtually nothing. In fact, all they were talking about at half time was the fact that En-Nesyri for Morocco failed to head the ball off on a cross, and even then it wouldn't have been like a guaranteed goal or anything. That was the closest there was to a goal up until that point. So it was a tough watch first half, to say the least. But I think it was down to both sides wanting to be fairly strong defensively, because Croatia in attack, I don't think it looks fairly weak. It doesn't look that strong, their attack. They've got Kramaric, who's a decent player. Perisic, who it doesn't even really play as a forward anymore. He wasn't bad. He's played left wing. He did all right. And Vlasic, who hasn't played a lot of football over the past 18 months since he joined West Ham. And yeah, they didn't really create much, to be completely honest. Their midfield was decent. Brozovic, Kovacic and Modric, but still not amazing overall. Morocco set up in a way where it was like a Christmas tree formation, almost 4-3-2-1, because Ziyech and Boufal on paper were playing as wingers, but they tucked in a lot more and played off the shoulder of En-Nesyri rather than as wingers. And what the game plan, I think, was for them to have Sofian Amrabat in central midfield, sit deeper and almost sit in between Aguerd and Romain Saiss in defence, who had good performances, to be fair to them. And then that would allow Hakimi and Mazraoui to push up. And I think in second half they were starting to go for it a little more, but just as they were starting to go for it, that game plan was sort of halted a little bit by Mazraoui's injury. So it didn't go as planned for Morocco at all, I don't think, because Hakimi and Mazraoui are two brilliant attacking the wing backs, really, or in this situation they were sort of meant to be very high, pushing forward up the pitch, full backs, but they never really had the opportunities to do it. So I think the idea of Ziyech and Boufal playing fairly narrow was for those two to push forward. And there were a few occasions, like in the second half, when that happened, but it just took too long for both teams to get properly into their strides. And I don't even know if they did properly get into their stride, to be honest. It's definitely a forgettable game, this one. Definitely not one that's going to live long in the memory. And in the other game in this group, it's Belgium v Canada lately. It'll be interesting to see how Canada do, but you'd expect Belgium would win this group, because Croatia, they're sort of at a period now, or not a period, but it's like at a point now where they've sort of had a bit of a golden generation, like in terms of having a really good team that made the World Cup final in 2018 in Russia. And a lot of those players are, like, some of them aren't even playing for Croatia anymore, and some of them very late in their 30s. Like Modric is still a good player, but they've no longer got a Rakitic performing at his best. They've no longer got Mandzukic up front either. Perisic, Brozovic, Lovren, all like getting towards the end point of their careers as well. So it's coming sort of coming to the end for Croatia in terms of their golden era that has been over the past 8 years or so. I think is a fair period to state, because before then they were fairly average, I personally think. But if I was to back one of these teams to go through in the group stage, I would probably say Croatia, in terms of they just seem to have a bit more quality in midfield of Modric, Kovacic and Brozovic. That they are three very, very good players. And for Morocco, a big part of their game is getting their wing backs forward and, well, full backs forward in this scenario, but they play as wing backs almost. And with Mazraoui being injured, or coming off injured anyway, if he is out for the next game, I can't remember who they've got. I think Morocco have got Belgium in the next game, so that's a big one. If they're missing in that game, they'll be in a little bit of trouble there. So yeah, I'll probably back Croatia still slightly over Morocco to make it through in this group. But neither team looked convincing at all today, to be completely honest. I think the one thing that sort of did slow the game down a little bit as well was I noticed that anytime there was like a tactical foul or anything, the referee was very hesitant to get the cards out, which I felt maybe gave the players a little bit more freedom to feel as though they can stop an opposition attack if they feel there's any sort of threat at all, and they'll probably get away with a yellow card for a cynical foul. I think the first yellow card came at about 70 minutes for a foul from Sofian Amrabat on Modric as he tried to turn away. And yeah, Modric was far and away the best player in this game, the only one who looked like he had a real bit of quality in him to create anything. Maybe Hakimi as well for Morocco, who again you'd expect to be their best player as well, considering he has played for, he's only like 23, 24, is he? And he's already played for Real Madrid, Borussia Dortmund, Inter Milan and PSG obviously, who he's currently at. So that is one hell of a list of clubs to have played for this early on in your career, so fair play to him for that. And there were a couple of occasions where he did manage to get a shot off the free kick, which moved a bit in the air and caused Livakovic in goal for Croatia a few problems, but nothing major really. The main problem as well for Morocco, as well as not getting their wing backs or full backs forward, I keep saying wing backs when they're not wing backs in this scenario anyway. They never managed to really get Ziyech and Boufal on the ball, who, I mean, we've seen in the Premier League, despite not having many moments of brilliance, both of them in the Premier League, they can definitely produce moments of magic. We saw it with Ziyech against Tottenham last season, that absolutely beautiful goal that he scored in the derby for Chelsea. And obviously everyone remembers Sofian Boufal for that one goal he scored for Southampton against West Brom about 5 years ago now. But yeah, they just never really managed to get on the ball. But both defences did look fairly solid as well, which needs to be pointed out. But yeah, not a great game this. Thanks for watching this video, and I'll see you next time.